Hey everybody, it's Eric with Low VA Rates. By the shirt I'm wearing, I hope you can tell it's Red Friday. Please wear red in support of our troops and all of our military families. And before I forget, speaking of red, down here to your right, my left, there's a red subscribe button. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll let you be one of the first people to know when these videos go live. And then we, of course, want you to share it and tag people and get a lot of people watching this so that these videos can help people just like they're helping you. Today we're going to talk about, man, what do we got, like 2 weeks left in the year? And you might be watching this in 2020, but we're filming it with a couple of weeks to go in the end of the year. VA loan limits have been removed, like vanished, erased. There are no more VA loan limits in 2020 or restrictions on how much money a veteran borrower can borrow. So we're going to talk about that. Here's a recap, because we've got some other videos on this, so I'm going to be quick here. On January 1st, 2020, VA loans will no longer be tied or restricted to the conforming loan limits. Conforming loan limits are something that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac put out, and then FHA usually follows suit and says, well, we're going to follow Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. That just means the VA, in the past, they would limit their 25% guarantee up to a certain loan amount, and it made it very difficult over the years for certain wealthier veterans or veterans that were living in higher priced places of the country, certain areas of California, all over the country. I mean, there's neighborhoods, as you guys might know, in Virginia, for example, or DC, where you can't get into a home for less than $1 million. So deserving veterans were kind of locked out of using their VA benefits. And over time, look, when I first got into the industry in 1997, the maximum amount of VA loan you could get was $203,000. Kid you not. And so, you know, very few veterans, I shouldn't say very few veterans, but a lot less veterans would use their VA loan eligibility because they couldn't. And as time has gone on, the VA has wanted more and more veterans to utilize their benefits. You know, we were as high as, I think, 484 this past year. Don't quote me on it. I don't have the notes right in front of me. It was 484 something. Now there's no limit. So let's get to that. That's super exciting. There are going to be some exceptions. Now you might be thinking, oh, Eric, you know, you just got me all pumped up about being able to go get like a $5 million house with no money down. Now you're telling me there's exceptions? Listen, I don't know about you guys. I've got 3 kids. I remember when I was in school, one of the first things they teach you, wasn't it like I before E, except after C, and there's always exceptions, and then you're like, I can't. Look, there's exceptions. Here's what the exceptions are. We call them lender overlays. We've talked about these when we've talked about credit score requirements, when we've talked about underwriting requirements. At Low VA Rates, we take pride in following the VA's rules to the T. We have no overlays. In reality, we don't. However, we know that not everybody, unfortunately, is going to use Low VA Rates. We certainly hope you do, but if you don't, understand some lenders may say, look, we aren't comfortable with a guy or a gal coming in, putting no skin in the game, no money down, and trying to go buy a $5 million house. So lender overlays may say up to, and these are all just guesses here, up to $2 million, okay? How many zeros do I gotta get in here? I think that's $2 million. That could be an example of an overlay. Or they may say you gotta put $5 million, or you gotta put 5% down, even though that's not a VA rule. We want some skin in the game. We're gonna have to wait and see when January 2020 rolls around to see what some of these overlays are. Now, the second exception, I'm referring to no restriction in loan amount, no restriction to the VA guarantee if you've got 100% full entitlement. We've got other videos, and we're going to do some really cool ones with PowerPoint here coming up where we go through all the math. We're going to look like you're in some sort of algebra class, but trying to calculate entitlement is not what I'm going to do on today's video. But understand, there are no loan limits if you have full entitlement. But if you've got a current VA loan on maybe a rental property, and you want to go buy a primary residence in Malibu and think, oh, you know what, I got this big bonus at work, I'm going to go buy a $5 million house. I'm not suggesting you can do that because you've already utilized some entitlement that is being used up on that rental property. If you only have partial entitlement, there's going to be some restrictions on that max loan amount due to how the VA limits your guarantee when you do not have full entitlement. Okay, so I'm not going to go into a whole lot more depth on lender overlays because I think I've done that well enough. Now keep in mind, I'm going to be shocked if on a super jumbo, this is not something you hear often, but I think we'll start hearing more about super jumbo loans. in 2020 and forward, since VA loan limits are being removed. Super jumbo also does, that doesn't mean like 5 million or 3 million. Every lender has their interpretation of a super jumbo loan. But once you start getting over $1 million, that's a pretty big house and quite a risk for a lender to take. I would be shocked if almost every lender under the sun does not come out with some sort of restriction on super jumbo loans so that they're not stuck with, you know, a huge amount of exposure should something happen to you financially. Now, the VA has also stated that in January of 2020, they are still planning on releasing updated lender guidelines. Okay, so though we know right now there are no more maximum loan amounts, and that's what everybody's talking about, we aren't sure if the VA won't come out with some sort of overlay or suggestion similar to what lenders will likely do on their own if the VA, and you might say, well, why, if the law was changed and the VA can now guarantee 25% of any mortgage with no restriction, why would the VA care? Understand, the VA, their home loan department of the VA, if memory serves me right, they're one of, if not the only profitable departments of the VA, okay, where they happen to operate on a surplus. They bring in VA funding fees, and they use the income from those VA funding fees to guarantee the lender a portion of the loan. If you've got a $10 million loan with no skin in the game from a veteran, the VA's on the hook for $2.5 million. That's 25% of $10 million. That could start depleting the VA's reserves from the guarantee fund very quickly. So just know we will be giving you updates as 2020 rolls around when we get them from the VA. If you forgot, go down here on the corner of your screen, subscribe, follow us on YouTube. If you've got additional questions, you can comment. We respond to those comments daily. You can call us, you can chat live, you can send us a text. We're here for you, and we want you to completely understand this stuff. Thanks for watching today.